I would certainly encourage people to apply it. It's a very exciting process, like for a science or engineering graduate to get in the scrubs and play doctor for a day.
School of International Biodesign-Synergizing Healthcare Innovation and Entrepreneurship, SIB SHINE, is an exciting year-long full-time dedicated residential fellowship program jointly led by the Indian Institute of Technology Kanpur and King George's Medical University Lucknow. It is sponsored by the Department of Biotechnology, Government of India, and serves to launch Made in India biomedical innovations through its 4C academic program encompassing clinical immersion, conception, creation, and corroboration. BioPatrika was proud to partner with IIT Kanpur and KGMU in welcoming the inaugural batch of fellows, and today we have with us the brains behind the program, Professor Amitabha Bandyopadhyay. Professor Bandyopadhyay, the current head of the biology department, has been a leader in bone and cartilage development at IIT Kanpur for almost 2 decades, before adding another feather to his cap as Kent's chair for entrepreneurship and innovation at the incubation cell in IIT Kanpur. He's a key player in bringing to the world products made of recycled flowers, multiple avenues of Indian drone technology, and even the pandemic acclaimed portable ventilator. An Indian Iron Man in the making? Welcome, Professor Bandyopadhyay.
Thank you, Charu. Thanks a lot. That's very generous of you.
Thank you. So while we are here to talk about the SIB SHINE program, I have to ask you, why do you feel so passionate about innovation, particularly for MedTech in India?
Well, it is connected that Indian entrepreneurship, if you dial back more than 1,000 years, uh, we were among the most innovative nations in the world. Of course, the concept of nation state was not there. We used to, uh, we used to have 25% share of the global GDP, and our merchandise was exported to European markets, Middle Eastern market, and all over the world. Now, somewhere along the line, because of historical reasons, we lost that edge, and today we are a net importer. Now, if the country has to become an economic superpower, then we must innovate, we must make products. We again have to assume the leadership role in the world in terms of business, and today's business has to be based on innovation. That's number one. Number two is that when it comes to medical devices, 83% of all the medical devices that are used in Indian hospitals are imported. One, that's a huge drag on our foreign currency reserve. Number two, these imported devices are expensive and someone has to bear the cost, right? As a result, the cost of healthcare is much more than if it would have been if the devices were made locally. Just to give you an example, as you talked about the ventilator, the segment in which the original V310i was competing in, those ventilators were typically sold around 9 lakh rupees. And our ventilators, despite having a very healthy profit margin, was being sold around 3.5. Okay. So now you just take this scenario and scale it up. You can see that there is a dramatic reduction in healthcare cost. Also, there are certain aspects which are unique to India, and no international brand will make products for that. Like, to give you an example, compared to many other nations, perhaps, in India, there are still many hospitals which are not centrally air conditioned. Now you see a simple problem statement. In cold areas of UP and further up north. During January, February, the ambient temperature can be around 8 to 9 degrees centigrade. Okay? Now imagine at that temperature you are running some kind of a fluid from a bottle to the body.
Yeah.
Okay? The recipient might get into a hypothermic shock just because it is coming from 9 degrees centigrade temperature. So you actually need a fluid warmer, which you would never need in a like a European country or in the US and perhaps even in China, because there they would have access to fully centrally air conditioned rooms where the temperature is controlled. So there are many, many reasons why we need to become self-reliant on medical devices.
So while I understand what you mean by we want to become self-reliant on medical devices, was it what was the ideation behind the fellowship? Why a fellowship and not some other venture where you could collaborate with big pharma, which already exists in India?
Yeah, like this is again, it is uh, two-layered rationale. Number one is that I, as you noted, that I am a cartilage and bone researcher. Okay, so I do that kind of a research for a particular purpose, that is to know more and try to uncover ourselves. But this kind of research, for a variety of reasons, typically will not have the killer instinct to take it to the logical conclusion at the earliest possible time frame. Okay? It is by design little bit laid back. Okay? That's number one. Number two is that uh, in this kind of work, your faculty member pool, the PhD student pool, no matter what we think, is largely homogeneous. Okay, so we all think, act in very predictable and similar manner. Rarely you would find someone who is completely thinking the so-called out of the box. Now, if you take, and for academic reasons, you cannot make it very broad based. You cannot have a very heterogeneous group of people working in a research laboratory or even in a department. When it is a fellowship, and we purposefully did it, we thought that anybody and everybody whom we feel that can contribute should be able to join. There should not be any prerequisite of degree or anything like that. In fact, in the cohort that we have, there is one guy who graduated with commerce degree. Okay? But he brings in ideas, concepts that the other people who have, but this guy had an experience of working in a hospital, okay,
Right.
which the other people, it is much more open-ended, uh, and so if you combine the two, that you are allowing the fellows to think completely wildly out of the box with the only mandate that you have to get to the product and to the market ASAP. That is only possible in this kind of a model. And this I have now seen repeatedly with the ventilator project, with the oxygen plant project. And soon you will see we are developing a handheld X-ray device. We are developing a artificial heart. All of these are modeled the same way, which is inspired by the ventilator project.
Yeah, so I think what you have clearly pointed out, and which is quite true, is that academics is driven mostly by curiosity and not necessarily by action, because that's not really the point of academics. And therefore, this fellowship is more academic, however, driven towards action. And you've kind of already talked about the 4 C's, which are these corner pillars of your program: clinical immersion, conception, creation, and corroboration. So I know that you've given us a glimpse of conception and creation with the backgrounds that your fellows come from and what they bring to the table. Can you highlight a little bit more on the clinical immersion and corroboration part?
See, like in India, education is designed in a manner where disciplines are defined very, very early in the academic career. Like after 10th grade, you have to decide whether you will start study arts or science or commerce or whatever. If it is science, after 12th grade, you will have to decide whether you will be studying physics or chemistry or medicine or engineering or whatever. And after that, these groups never see each other. As a result, what has happened, this I have experienced in last 10 years, that if you walk in a hospital, other than the patients, doctors, and nurses, everything else, including the hospital bed, is an engineering implement. Doctors know which one to use, when to use, how to use,
Mhm.
but they do not know how to make.
Yeah.
The engineers know how to make, but they have no idea about what to make because they have never been, intimately involved in the operations of a hospital. So if you mix the two, then the need statements flow from the doctors to the fellows. Now, any need statement does not necessarily translate into a product. That's where the mentorship and collaboration comes in picture, that the doctors will temper the excitement and expectation by saying, which one is a much more complex device to make, which one is, a relatively easier one to go after. The engineers, like the faculty mentors, they will be able to say which one is relatively easier to fabricate, which ones will have much more complications. And then there will be the fellows, some will be from mechanical background, some will be from electrical background, some will be from electronics, computer science background, some will be from commerce management background. They will be able to complement each other's skill sets into taking these inputs of ideas from the doctors and engineers, synthesize it, discuss within the group, and figure out a set of products that should be made, they're capable of making, and they understand the business of that as well.
Right. I mean, and this sounds quite exciting. And now you've told us a little bit about what the program is and what your expectation from the program is. It's bringing everyone together, it's creating a holistic environment where everyone is answerable for different aspects of things, and you're just putting brains together, and we're realizing ideas that would have been very unilateral otherwise. Um,
Yeah.
so what is your ideal outlook for a person who graduates from this program?
Yeah, see, the outcome that will make me very happy is this group of people, either they become high quality entrepreneurs in medical device manufacturing or related domain, or they become, you highly sought after technical executives in established medical devices companies in India.
Mm.
Because one, there are very few, and two, those that are there are too traditional.
Yeah.
Okay, they make a lot of money. Like I do not want to name names here, but I know medical devices companies that have made thousands of crores during COVID.
Yeah.
But they do not have the technical depth or the understanding that this money can be invested to bring in new genre products, and
Mm.
they can become market leaders, etc., etc. So if these fellows uh, are absorbed in this kind of company, and that's why we have kept the fellowship program quite high profile. Okay, like anybody and everybody who is associated with medical devices industry in the country, know that we are running such a program, and they know the fellows, they interact with them, etc.
Mhm. Yeah, I mean it looks like you're setting up first of all a new breed of entrepreneurs and innovators to bring in the next step of medtech. So as a program administrator, what is the one thing that you think, because this was the inaugural fellowship, what is the one thing that you will take to the next round, and what is the one thing that you're definitely going to change?
Yeah. Um, what we will certainly take to the next round is, while selecting the fellows, we need to pay a little bit more attention to the hunger factor. You know,
Mm,
those who are really keen to do something,
mhm,
even if their academic background is a little bit, not as strong as the other guy, but the hunger is more. We should preferably go for those, because this is not an easy calling. Okay, it's a tough one. Okay, and the one where we have to be a little bit careful, it might sound a little unprofessional, but the ground reality cannot be ignored, is that some kind of a homogeneity in the age group has to be looked at. Otherwise, the gelling in the team is not is a problem.
And so, does this come from, like, is this a classroom sort of a fellowship, or do people work in huddles and brainstorm? So, is that
It
where?
is it is purely hurdles and brainstorming. Like a classroom setting might be 5 to 7% of the total contact time in 1 year.
Mhm. And so, why do you need this in-person full-time program? I understand that there are huddles and there are individual contributions that people bring. Why does this need to be a full-time event? Can it not be auditing of classes, bringing it to a wider net of people?
Yeah. Well, like um, getting, see, like, your fellows are from all sorts of background, right?
Right.
So we are making a very valiant effort to bring all of them to a certain understanding level. Okay, that is the only knowledge imparting part. The rest, them, spending in different functional units of the hospital, that you cannot do online.
Mm-hmm.
Them working in the workshops of IIT Kanpur and trying to fabricate, getting the 3D modeling done using softwares that cost crores of rupees, literally.
Mm-hmm.
All of this you can only do within the campuses of IIT Kanpur or KGMU. So therefore, it cannot be an off, like online kind of engagement. It is not like the monologue part is, as I said, like no more than 5 to 7% of the total engagement.
Okay. And so I know that the fellowship is only a year, and it is really hard to come up with like a decent idea which can be captured. But
Yeah.
how many of these ideas can IIT
Mhm.
Kanpur incubate? And once a fellow is successful, for example, or has something, how do you launch their venture?
Yeah. So there, we have now enormous advantage.
Okay.
Now I can almost sniff a would be successful entrepreneur. Okay. And within this group, I would say that 4 products are certainly going to be launched. Okay.
Fantastic.
And those, after the fellowship period ends, it will be our collective responsibility to ensure that they will have product development fund and some personnel money, so that they don't die of hunger. It will not be as handsome as the fellowship amount, but like so that they can sustain themselves. and sufficient money so that they can take it through alpha and beta prototype. And for launching them, the whole country is now alert that they need to become self-reliant in medical devices. So government is sparing almost no effort to make that possible. A lot of investment, lot of infrastructure building, lot of ease of doing business. In fact, I am quite intimately involved with the Ministry of Pharmaceuticals to help them develop an implementation process for medical device regulation for the whole country, a training program for medical device testing, certification, regulation, setting up setting up centers for testing, certification of medical devices. So, and this is not just IIT Kanpur or me doing. This is happening in multiple parts.
Okay.
So now, if you have a good product, but on one point, there is no compromise either on my personal behalf or IIT Kanpur or the country, is that the product cannot be second rate.
Yeah.
From look and feel to performance, it has to be internationally competitive.
Mm.
So once that is there, I think launching them will not be a problem at all.
So, as far as you say that the product has to be useful internationally, it has to stand on the global platform. Are IIT Kanpur, KGMU alumni involved here? Because there are some, like these institute have some really good alumni who are
Yeah, yeah,
based all over the globe in really good positions. So, are you
yeah,
able to
yeah.
give a
That is
history?
completely there. That is completely there. We are meeting so many alumni I can't even count. Okay,
Mm-hmm,
so they are all helping. In medical devices, particularly, even non-IITK alumni, alumni from IIT Kharagpur, IIT Delhi, they have also joined hands. Somehow the word is out that we are trying to do things.
mm-hmm.
People are here to join hands and help. Like I
So, is
have
this
in my mentor pool
Yeah, sorry. I
some
just
of the
meant to
MDs
ask
and
if
CEOs.
your alumni base is majorly in terms of, I know that you said the government is not sparing anything in getting MedTech from
Mhm.
India out and globalized. And so is this contribution from the
Yeah,
alumni, and I think you just started to say it, on a mentorship networking level, or is it monetary?
it is mentorship networking, because we have created a group who were MDs and CEOs of leading medical devices companies in India, like MNCs. Their Indian unit heads are our mentors. So they know the business, they know the marketing, they know the market and all of that. So that is helping them a lot. And on the regulatory side, we have some fantastic alumni, and again, if people get to know that you are trying, a lot of people join hands. AI Med is an association of medical device manufacturers in the country. So many members of AI Med just help us pro bono.
Yeah.
There are people that are associated with AI Med. They are just pushing every possible button to ensure that our companies at least get a fair deal. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
So things are happening.
So I think that all of this stems from your ability to network. So you have the Ministry of Pharmaceuticals and the government involved. You have alumni. You have the entire medtech industry in India. So you as a person are able to network. You as an institute or as a program are able to network. And how much of this networking are you able to impart as knowledge to your fellows? And what kind of guidance do you give in that context?
Yeah, yeah. So, you know, um, there is a reason why gray hairs are appreciated in India. So, for me, I have a network of my college. I have a network of my, US associations. Then I have a network because of SIIC, the incubator. I have a network because of IIT Kanpur. I have a network because of so many other things. And for fellows, because they are so focused on their product development, so they will have two, three key people that I will introduce them to.
Mhm.
They will attend, two, three key events where they will try to interact with a couple of people. But it is a very small network at this stage. That will not see them through.
Mhm.
But they will understand the importance of networking, and hopefully they will leverage that. But one thing I can tell you, Charu, that a network will help if and only if the product is very good.
Yes.
Two startups, one having a like both having top quality products, the one that has better network will succeed.
Yeah.
But two startups with top quality network, but one having a good product and the other one is not so good one, no matter how good is your network, you will not succeed.
Mhm.
So my focus is on quality of the product.
Yeah.
The rest will follow.
Yeah, I think it's quite nice that you have all of these aspects involved. And so, from a third person perspective, you get that point of view towards the product as well. That is this really going to work? And that's why you have this multitude of people being involved. And well, I wanted to ask you if this program will continue, and it sounds like it will. However, are any other IITs and other hospitals beyond IIT Kanpur and IIT KGMU going to be involved in SIB Shine? Are they going to be a network?
No, so actually, SIB is a network, School of International Biodesign. The original version was IIT Delhi and AIMS Delhi.
Okay.
And almost 10 years after that, the second edition is IIT Kanpur and KGMU.
Mhm.
But there are parallel editions between IIT Bombay and Hinduja Hospital, um, AIMS Jodhpur and IIT Jodhpur, and I think that's it from Department of Biotechnology. But ICMR, Indian Council of Medical Research, another funding body, they have started one between IIT Hyderabad and AIG, Asian Institute of Gastroenterology in Hyderabad.
Okay.
So multiple such programs are running, and time will tell which ones are the adult ones.
So, amongst all of these multiple networks, is there a common conference where people interact? Is there a common place where the fellows can talk to each other? And I think, of course, it's not all talk as we discuss, it's not all networking, but this could be a place where like all the hungry minds could get together.
Yeah, so I think it will take another year for this to nucleate, because right now all the institutions are just trying to uh, tame this new beast. It's a very different kind of an administration, very different kind of a training program. So we have not yet started thinking a little bit more broad-based manner yet. But I think another year and that will happen. And it has to happen.
I mean, this sounds like a steep learning curve, but it's already returning profit,
Yeah.
and it's
Yeah,
an
yeah.
excellent venture. And I think at the end of it, I just want to ask you what the medtech and industry looks like to you in 20 years, and what does a program like SIP Shine contribute to it?
I am reasonably confident that the awakening of Indian medical devices industry is another 5 years away,
Okay.
and the game will change in another 10 years. Okay. You will see, because see, like the resource crunch is not an Indian phenomena alone, it's a global phenomenon.
Hmm.
Okay. So when the word is out that Indian devices are just as good at one third the cost, one fourth the cost, um, the advanced economies may not like it, but they are actually, they do practice protection of their own companies. that protectionism will wither away. So you will see Indian products invading many of the established markets simply because those will be high quality products at a much more competitive price. So it will eventually the market forces will take over.
Excellent. So thank you for your time today, Professor Bandyopadhyay. I just have like one final thing from our audience. I know that several of them would be interested in knowing more about this program, and I know they can go on the website, but is there a way that they can apply for the fellowship, or are people invited to be a part of the fellowship?
No. It is an open application. Anybody can apply, and it is widely advertised through our social media handles and newspapers and everywhere. So before the next edition comes out, at least you will get a month and a half notice that it's time to apply. So yeah, and I would certainly encourage people to apply. It's a it's a very exciting process, like for a science or engineering graduate to get in the scrubs and play doctor for a day.
Yeah.
It completely will change your perspective, and you will have that thrill of doing something that is completely your own while getting paid for it, while being mentored by some of the best in the world. You just can't beat it. Yeah.
Well, I can absolutely see now how India is steadily innovating, making in India, but for the globe. So thank you so much.
Thanks, Charu.